Episode 16. What was fun was that she could hide in the snow so well of a night that it was always fun to play with the boys. Go out in the winter time and hide in a snowdrift, then wait and see how long it took them to find her. After she had mind-linked them to tell them they'd never find her. A hunt they had all enjoyed, Alpha Nathan's wolf Havoc especially. He'd always loved to hunt and was good at it. Typical alpha genes, she guessed. A good memory from her teenage years. Cora had always been able to run like the wind. Once again, she had proved how amazing she was. Even in human form, Cora had been able to outrun Jackson and his wolf Apollo, something she had been proud of back in the day, and now could still be. Still faster than the beta. Aha, suck it. She thought with a chuckle. She would love to tease him about still being slow. She and Cora had always teased them when growing up. "You're all slow pokes," she would tease them, throwing leaves and sometimes mud at them or snowballs depending on the time of the year. It had always enticed them and their wolves into a game of chasey, so they could try and prove her wrong. Their wolves were going to grow to be the strongest and fastest in the pack, the alpha's designated unit to help him protect and secure the pack. It had been a game pure and simple, one that she and Cora knew they actually couldn't win, not because she couldn't outrun them because she could, but because of who they actually were. The future beta, Gamma, and Delta, they would use other tactics to bring her down. Splitting up and forcing her into a corner was their favorite, setting a trap, and they were good at it. She had often wondered how many planned traps they had made and discussed about her, and Cora to always be able to hunt and push her where they could corner her in different places all over pack territory. If they couldn't, they had simply called for backup, and he would come for her. Havoc ever present to give him the burst of speed he needed to drag her wolf down to the ground. It had always been all in good fun. She sighed heavily. "No, that's enough of a trip down memory lane. Let's not recall anymore." "Agreed." Cora huffed, seemed a little annoyed, but seeing as he had just kidnapped them and separated them from their pups, we shouldn't go down memory lane. He had changed from the fun, playful man she had known to an angry, hateful man. Well, where she was concerned anyway. His beta was still loyal to him, so it was likely he was still liked and respected by his pack. It was just her he hated, and for so very long. Would he ever let it go? She doubted it. His anger was still so great even after all this time. She had hoped with years passing it would have lessened, that one marking of his mate just once, and she would have healed and been left unblemished. Jaylaw's wounds were much more severe from her kidnapping than the 3 tiny claw marks she had left on Luna Sophia's face, and she had healed up, not a blemish left on her. How could it be that he is still so angry with her? Clearly 20 years of friendship meant nothing to him. She closed her eyes. "Don't go there," Cora whined at her. The past hurt her too. Nathan POV. He had spent the past week having his men investigate her whereabouts. She had not returned to her apartment, had been taken somewhere else, and where he had yet to find out. He couldn't actually blame her for that. She had run off back to the human world, probably right into Eric Stanton's protection. She felt like she belonged there now, he figured, because he had once ordered her to leave and told her to never come back. She had nowhere else to go, so it was not surprising that she had made a life for herself there. Nathan had wolves watching her apartment for her return, but 7 days and nothing. The feds had come for him the following morning. After her escape, he had gone willingly. No point in arguing it, not when she had ran right into their arms in such a bloodied and wounded state, directly from his pack lands. He had been hoping she would still be with them, and he could come across her. That way she could send him out and Cora, and she would identify them as their mate, which could solve everything. But she had not been anywhere near him, at hospital for treatment of her wounds. She couldn't just heal herself overnight in the human world. That would be extremely odd and draw her unwanted attention to herself. She was smart. How could she claim her wounds were real if all healed, and then he could claim she had fabricated them if that was the case? He had been slapped with a human world federal charge of kidnapping and causing grievous bodily harm due to taking her across several states against her will. It was a federal case. Although he had not actually laid a hand on her, the men who he'd sent for her had injured her, but so severely that the charge was laid against him, due to that they were under his orders. He'd shaken his head. Bloody humans. He had informed them he didn't know the men, and they had bolted already. When in reality, He had sent them home to bury their son and brother. He had paid them more money due to the death of the man. He had not expected J-Law to fight so hard, let alone kill a wolf in an attempt to get away. But he should have known it. She was a warrior's daughter and had trained with him and his unit most of the time. The girl could take care of herself. But he had also not known that she was desperately trying to get back to her 3 children, who he had not known about and separated her from. It was no wonder she fought so hard, killed in an attempt to get away, and refused to come home at all. The feds had produced the video footage of her kidnapping, the photographic evidence of all her wounds once when she'd gotten away from him and run straight into the arms of human law enforcement. She had been stripped down to her underwear, and he'd gotten to see the state of her right hip, bruised and ripped open, and her chest covered in dark bruising and many scratches from where she had been unceremoniously tossed out of the van and onto the ground, unable to protect herself from the sudden impact due to having her hands bound behind her.
Full story is available at novelpalace.com. Click the link in the comment section to get it free.